Hi guys, it's Steph from IDRIVEACLASSIC, and today I'm back at something totally amazing, the Festival of the Unexceptional, and we're going to split this into a two-part video. The first part I'm going to show you around all the Concours cars, and that's what I'm going to do today, and in my second part coming up in my next video instalment, I'll show you all the visitor cars too. So let's go and have a look at some beautiful Concours cars. It's time to start looking around the cars, and I wanted to show you my absolute favourite first of all. It's this Yugo 45. I've never seen one in real life before, which is probably not surprising because there's only 5 left, and can you believe this is the only one in the UK? So it's built in 1988 and has a top speed of 84 miles an hour, which would actually make it quite a good commuter car actually. So yeah, lovely car, made in Yugoslavia, and manufacturer was, sorry for the pronunciation if I'm going to offend anyone, it is Zastava. It's one of those Eastern Bloc cars. Now onto something that I know I'm going to fall in love with, a Nissan Sunny. Now if you saw my video on the Bluebird, you'll know that I'm a very recently converted to the world of retro Japanese cars. I'm in love, and this Nissan Sunny is no exception. So if you're wondering why it's not a Datsun, it's a little bit too late. They changed over from the Datsun branding in the early 80s, and can you believe with over 1 million of these amazing cars made, there are only actually 9 left in the UK. And just like the Bluebird, this one is also pretty rust free. I'm quite impressed actually. It's a nice car. Now let me show you a car which people often mock, but in this case it's been highly rewarded. In fact, this car won Concours for Festival of the Unexceptional. It's owned by a friend of mine, Michael Carpenter, and it is an absolutely exceptional car. So I've actually asked Trig to have a catch up with us and tell us a little bit about this car, because it is so nice. And for those of you that have only seen Top Gear's rendition of the Marina, which is dropping a piano on it, think again, because these cars are not only practical, they are fun to drive. The handling's not as bad as people say it is, and yeah, I mean, look at it. It's a great colour. It's fun to look at. And I would say this is probably my second favourite car of the show, because it's a Marina. And I've driven my friend's Marina quite a lot. And I can honestly confirm to you that they are great little cars. So let's ask Michael what he thinks of this amazing Morris Marina.
Hi, my name's Michael Carpenter, and this is my 1977 Morris Marina 1300 Deluxe Estates. I've had classic cars for years. One of my cars I've got at the moment is a Morris 575 van, which is the ITIL front. I installed that a few years ago, and that brought me onto this. I was at a show and somebody saw my van and said what a nice van it was. I've got a Marina in my garage. I said okay. Anyway, long story short, went to have a look at this Marina, and here it is. Went to this barn. The story was that the car was on the road for the first 4 years until 1981, and then I presume, or I think, it had hit something which damaged the fuel tank and the prop, and it came off the road, and it ended up in the chap's lock-up until about 2005, and it ended up in a scrapyard. I believe he died, and the council did the lock-up out. Anyway, the chap I bought this off saw it in the scrapyard, bought it because it was going to be basically scrapped for an MG midget part. He got it home, and he started trying to get back on the road, and he was cutting the fuel pipes off, slipped with the knife and cut 3 of his fingers off. They're all wrapping up apparently, so he showed me the scars, so it was true. So he hated the car today, wouldn't touch it, had nothing to do with it anymore, and it sat in his garage for another 10 years. And when I went to see it, being off the road obviously since 1981, I agreed the price, got it home. Me and my dad, we set about getting it back on the road again, doing it mechanical stuff, and here it is today. Bodywork and interior thing are exactly as they come from the factory. I haven't done anything to the bodywork, never been painted, never been welded. It's totally as it is, everything kind of miles and a few storage marks and scratches. Mechanically I've gone through it, and I've still only done 25,000 miles from new. So actually, it's a Marina, but they're nice cars. They're nowhere near as rubbish people like to make you think. They are actually. It drives as nice as any other classic car. They don't deserve the reputation they've got, in my view, and that's coming from other cars coming to this. I don't know why more people don't have them.
this is lovely. This is a 1975 Vauxhall Viva, and it looks to be well loved because there's a lot of stickers and badges and stuff on it. And as you look around, you'll see that got a gorgeous vinyl roof on it. To be honest, this is probably the epitome of 70s for me. I love it. Now, can you believe that over 600,000 of these cars were made, and yet there's only 10 left in the UK? I mean, what an absolute disappointment, because these cars are really cool. Who wouldn't want to drive something like this now? I mean, it's the colour, it's the roof, it's everything. And for those of you that like a few facts as well, they were made between 1963 and 1979 in Cheshire. And for those of you that are tuning in from abroad, that is in the north. And they were basically scaled back after the Chevette was launched. Now, I looked at this and I thought, it doesn't really take my fancy and it's not really my thing, but do you know what? I love the fact that it's here, because it's one of those cars, and for those of you who aren't sure what it is, and I certainly wasn't until I had a quick look around the car, it's a Toyota Carina from 1991. Now, I haven't seen one of these in absolutely years, which is hardly surprising considering, despite the fact that 95,000 were made, there's only just over 100 left. And I don't think it's the fact that the cars aren't very good or they rot quickly. I think it's things like the scrappage scheme that have taken stuff like this off the road. Because, I mean, look at this. It's a really beautiful car and it doesn't look like it's been restored to look like this. So yes, embodies the unexceptional, but maybe not one that's for me. Now, would it be an IDRIVEACLASSIC video if I didn't somehow manage to shoehorn a Metro in somewhere? And this isn't any Metro, this is Tom Morley's Metro. And for those of you who don't know Tom Morley, he is a man who has more attention to detail. Well, I wish I had that much attention to detail, because I think I'd get a lot more done in life, to be honest. Now, all of Tom's cars look, well, to be honest, they look better than the day they rolled off the forecourt. I mean, look at this car, it's insane. It's so clean. And for those of you who are wondering why it looks different to Jill, this is a Rover Metro. So as you may know, Metro started as Austin Metros, then they were just as badged as Metros, and then they became the Rover Metro, and I love all of them. And this holds a special place in my heart because it looks exactly the same as my first Metro. Well, spec wise, it certainly wasn't this clean, or it wouldn't have been scrapped after 3 months. So I wanted to show you this car because this is probably as close as we'll ever get to seeing what it looked like when it was brand new. I mean, look at the detail. This car looks insane. It's no wonder it's won so many concours events, and I'm so pleased it's here today because I've really wanted to catch up with Tom and do a little feature on one of his cars, because as you can see, they are absolutely beautiful and all his time and effort is so obvious. And although Tom has never really gone above 30 miles an hour, this car would actually top 100 miles an hour, which, by the way, I can actually vouch for. So let's chat to Tom.
I'm Tom. I'm a complete Metro nut and chairman of the Metro Club. Been into Metros for about 18, 19 years. The car that you're filming or seeing is a 1992 Rover Metro 1.4 SL. At the time, that was just one down from top of the range. £11,000 brand new, which was a lot of money at the time for a Metro, but it was the height of luxury in 1992, with velour seats, central locking, chrome trim and a rather racy 1.4 K series engine. Massive improvement on the Austin Metros at the time, with the K series engine that had just been launched in the Rover 200 range, 5-speed gearbox and the improved hydrogas suspension setup with the front to rear interconnection. The car you're sitting in is a 17,000 mile from new one, almost totally original, previously owned by an old couple and obviously very well looked after, and has been detailed extensively to the standard you see today.
Whoever decided at Hagerty to include 2 Metros is an absolute hero. By the way, this is the oldest Austin Mini Metro left in the UK. Now let's have a look at this beautiful Triumph Toledo. I'm a really big fan of Triumphs now. I have to take you a few on test drives, and the colour of this car is absolutely insane. Can you believe there are only 400 left? I mean, look at it, it's amazing. Why wouldn't you save them? And this kind of shocked me really. This is a 1992 Renault Clio. I remember people having these kind of new and as first cars, so it's kind of made me feel a bit old really that that's here. Now there's a little bit of a Renault display, so I'm going to show you some of the other Renaults as well. I mean, you don't see so many of them in the UK, and I think this is down to things like the scrappage scheme. So this is a Renault 9 from 1988. To be honest, it looks a lot more modern. There's only around 41 left in the UK, which is quite a shame. But I mean, if you're a big fan of these sorts of cars, you can go to places like France. They still seem to value older cars and have quite a few more than we do. And I think it's just things like the scrappage scheme. It's things like people being told they need a new car and being conned into the idea that have made people take cars like this, really great cars like this, and maybe scrap them when they don't need to be scrapped. And the idea of keeping up with the Joneses. This Renault 19 is another exceptionally gorgeous French car. Now, I remember quite a lot of these being around when I was a kid, and I find it shocking to think there's only 5 left. And of course, absolute winner of this show, the Austin Maxi, designed by one of my favourite men, Alec Asconis, and the back seats fold down into what's allegedly a very uncomfortable bed, but a bed nonetheless. So if you like saving money and you don't fancy shelling out for Premier Inns, then I think maybe the Austin Maxi is the car for you. Look at this sticker, awesome. Now, motorbikes and classic bikes aren't really my thing, but I was really pleased to see them featured because I think that you can't forget things like this. And also, here's a cheeky peek at this amazing Nissan Sunny, which I am slightly obsessed with in the spirit of me becoming very into these retro Japanese cars. And so I thought I'd give you a quick peek because there are so many amazing cars here that I can't fit them all in. So unfortunately, I've sped this footage up so I can definitely feature it, not leave it out, and give you a taste of what's been here today. I am hugely excited to show you this. This is a Trabant. Now, you'll know from some of my earlier videos that I have a low-key obsession with Trabants. I think they're amazing. They're funny little cars actually, because for those of you that are tuning in maybe from outside of Europe, they were a bit of a symbol of the former East and West German divide. They were seen marching over the border when the Berlin Wall fell, and these have got a few quirks as well. So your 1980s model, they don't have any kind of indication for your headlights, your turn signals. There's no fuel gauge, which is a very real reality in some of my cars. There's no rear seat belts. There's no external fuel door, and the drivers had to pour a mix of gasoline and oil straight under the bonnet. I mean, how crazy is that? Now, I wanted to know a little bit more about this car, so I was able to track down the owner, and I conned her into having a little chat with us and telling us about this very cute little Trabant, and also a little bit about the stickers on the car too, because I think they're very interesting and I think we all want to know more.
Hi, my name's Susie. This is my Trabant Betty. My husband started my interest in Trabants about 10 years ago. He saw a Trabant in London, decided he wanted one. We didn't get one until about 6 years ago, and the second one that we bought was called Betty, and she had a red roof and red wheels and red headlights, and we sold her, and I regretted it. So we were sitting having dinner one night about 18 months ago, and Betty 2 arrived on the drive. A complete surprise. My husband had bought her for me. So we like to bring her to shows. She gets really well received. We've liveried her up as an Interflug, which is the East German Airlines, because they used to have these cars taking people around, I think dignitaries on the airports in East Germany.
I feel like I haven't seen a Hillman Hunter for absolutely ages. You tend to see the same few pop up at car shows locally, and so it was really nice actually to see this on display, and everything about it was perfect. The colour, the interior, the chrome, everything about this gorgeous car was amazing. And parked next to it was this amazing Maestro 1.6 HLS, which means it has the same sorts of seats as Jill, and it will have the headrests in it, and basically it's just a little bit fancier. But as you can see, it's a gorgeous colour. You know what I'm like about British Leyland. Love them all. And yeah, this is definitely another show favourite. This is actually one of my dream cars, and If you've not seen one before, it's a Vauxhall Chevette, and this particular Vauxhall is from 1978, and with a top speed of 88 miles per hour, it's definitely a car that I could incorporate into the daily commuter life, and you can get from 0 to 60 in 14.9 seconds. However, just like my Mini Metro, these are pretty rare, and there's less than 20 left in the UK, which is such a shame because in the 70s it did so well that it pulled Vauxhall's reputation round, and in fact it was a market leader until the Fiesta grabbed the crown in 1978. So yeah, a massive loss from the roads of Britain and beyond. Now, if you haven't been to the Festival of Unexceptional before, and I hadn't myself actually, I'd heard lots of good things about it, I would say absolutely do it if you love those cars that people slag off all the time on the internet when they definitely haven't driven them, and just cars that you saw years ago when you were a child and people have forgotten, or things that are just a bit rare and a bit special, then I would definitely say this is the show for you. I mean, we've seen 2 Metros, we've seen 2 Marinas, we've seen a car that was won on a game show. Honestly, the selection here today is fantastic, and the quality of the cars is fantastic too actually, and I'm looking forward to showing you some of the cars in the car park as well, because it's not just the cars up here that are in great condition, it's the cars down on the car park too. I mean, look at this looks like it's just rolled out the factory. These cars are absolutely perfect, and I can't believe there are just so many rare cars here, and it just feels like such a privilege that, you know, it's £5 to get in to come and see all these amazing cars, lots of different stuff on during the day, and in my opinion this is definitely a show that needs to be added into your calendar because the selection is just awesome. I am so pleased that there are so many French cars here, because one of my favourite things about going on holiday on the continent is the amount of ludicrous cars from the 70s and 80s and beyond that you seem to see knocking around in France. And this show's been great because there's been a lot of different stuff. There's been a lot of, what I would consider like really foreign stuff, like your Japanese, your Korean, your things like that, your American, and also some really great European stuff, which includes this Renault Six. Now, I don't think I've seen a Renault Six before, especially not out in the wild, and this example seems to be quite honest. There's a few little spots of rust, but in general it is an absolutely gorgeous car. The colour's amazing, the car's amazing, and I definitely think this is something that I would drive if I was in France and had a supply at my disposal, because look at the size of it and look at the design. It seems very practically laid out, it's got lots of space inside, and it is a beautiful car. Now, this is from 1978 with a top speed of 75 miles an hour, so pretty practical, and can you believe there are only 14 left in the UK? What a shame. It's time to step squarely back into the 70s with this bright orange Hillman Avenger 1300. Now, can you think of anything better or more 70s than a bright orange car with impressive chrome trim? I think if I was to go back in time, I think this is the car I would have picked. I mean, look at it. It is so cool. Like the finish on it or the chrome on it. And it's got a top speed of 90 miles per hour. You can get from 0 to 60 in 17.5 seconds. And despite there being nearly 650,000 of these beautiful cars made, there's only 33 left, and what a shame, because look at the car, it's absolutely sensational. If you've never seen one of these, you're not alone. I haven't either, and so I had to do a bit of digging to find out what it was. They give us these little top trump books as you look around the cars, which has actually been quite handy to find out all about the different models. And this is a Toyota Crown Custom Estate. It was built in 1973 with a top speed of 99 miles per hour, and it goes from 0 to 60 in 23 seconds. 350,000 were made, but there's only 3 left. Can you believe it? Gorgeous car, looks very American, and yeah, I am very keen on it actually. Great choice for this rally. One of the things that I have really enjoyed about Festival of the Unexceptional is there doesn't appear to be any snobbery whatsoever towards cars, whether it's a cool car in inverted commas or a car that people have maybe forgotten or don't see as a cool car. That poor little Mini Metro, I'm looking at you. Everybody's parked right next to each other, and quite proudly too. And this Ford Cortina Mark V is gorgeous, by the way, and I've really enjoyed seeing this, and I'm pleased that it came. But I'm a little bit more pleased actually that this Austin Apache came. Now, I've never seen one of these in the UK, and that's probably because any that are here because they were imported. So a few little key facts for you about the Austin Apache. This particular one was built in 1976, and it has a top speed of 90 miles per hour, which is incredible. You can get from 0 to 60 in 17.8 seconds, and there were over 20,000 made, and there are currently 3 in the UK. So as I said, this was imported, this came from South Africa, and now lives in the UK. I mean, what an exciting car to see at a show, because I've never seen one in real life before, and when people have mentioned them in YouTube comments, I've had to look them up online. So probably this was the most exciting car I've seen today, and I'm so very glad that it's here. Now, this Chrysler Avenger estate was absolutely perfect. I mean, look at the paintwork on it, it's just amazing. But that wasn't what caught my eye, it was this DAF. Now, I always wanted to own a DAF, but it didn't work out for me. And this DAF 33, well, I keep saying everything's my favourite car, but I absolutely adored this, from the colour through to everything about it. And I remember when I went to look at a DAF back in 2012, they were hard then to get parts for, so I can only imagine what it's like now. Now, this beautiful DAF 33 Deluxe Auto was made in 1972, and it has a top speed of 70 miles an hour, which probably means it's a bit slow. And sadly, there's only 13 left in the UK, so it looks like I'll never own one now. Now, this is a little bit different. This is a Mitsubishi Colt, or as this one is known, a Colt Sigma GLX. Now, these are gorgeous cars, but they're not something you see every day because they are import and they're a little bit different. And can you believe that there were over 500,000 made, but there's only 11 left on the road? It's one of those cars that's just been forgotten and hasn't really been remembered, and what a shame, because look at the car. As we look around it, you'll see that the car's very well. I'm incredibly impressed by it, and can you believe it? It's got a top speed of 106 miles per hour. I mean, you can't ask for more than that, really, can you? Oh, this is a bit different. So I've never seen one of these before, and do you know what? I'm going to give Hagerty a massive thumbs up for this show, because I've seen cars here that I've never seen in real life, or that I've only seen at the NEC just parked up. And honestly, like even in the car park of visitors, it's been, oh, honestly, it's been, I know it sounds like a pun, but it's been exceptional actually, and the show's just been incredible, and this car's no exception. So for those of you who didn't know what it was, I certainly didn't. It's a Chrysler Horizon. It's a 1.3. Now, have you noticed that it hasn't got a number plate? Now, there's a reason for that. I heard on the grapevine that this was a game show prize that was never claimed. It never got driven, and what an incredible story. And let me tell you, if I'd won this on any game show, it would have been coming straight home with me and straight out on the road, because it is incredible. I honestly feel overwhelmed with the amount of amazing cars we've seen here today, and I feel like this is only just the beginning, because this is just Concours section. So you've got your top 50 vehicles that have been handpicked. Owners have submitted their stories, they've been considered to appear here today for their chance to win top vehicle, which, as you know, it was won by the blue Marina van, which we saw earlier in the video. And yeah, there's just, these cars are amazing, and for the money it costs to get, well, the money it costs for the tickets and the money it costs to get here as well, I would say this was bargain of the century. It's been a great day out, and I've only just started with you guys. I've shown you the Concours cars today, and I really hope you've enjoyed seeing them, and certainly my favourites as well, because there's some gorgeous cars here today. I love this Maxi, by the way. And I really hope that as we've looked around that you've got a real sense for what this show is about, because I wasn't too sure myself, and so I wanted to make sure in this video today I showed you guys what I'd been looking at, why this show was so special, and hopefully I've convinced some of you to come next year, because I honestly, I can't find the words to sum up how great it's been today and what fun we've had. And in my next video I can't wait to show you the car park either, because again there's a load more cars. So yeah, all in all, definitely add this to your calendar because it's been amazing. So that concludes looking around all the Concours cars at the Festival of the Unexceptional. However, we're not done, because in the next video, as you can probably spy, there's some other cars behind me, and we're going to have a look around the car park and look at all the amazing classic cars that are here today. People have already started going, which is a massive shame, but hey ho, we've got plenty to look around in the next video. So if you've enjoyed looking at the Concours cars as much as I have today, don't forget to hit like, and of course don't forget to hit subscribe, because new videos go up every Wednesday and every Sunday. Now until next time, take care and drive safely.